Welcome back to Wargames Battle Reports. Got a fun matchup today, doing something a bit different. It is another 2000 point old world game, but for this one, I'm using Michael's Tomb Kings, and he's running a Troll Horde list with a mix of both our models. So we'll see which is more stupid. Will the Troll Horde fail their stupidity, or will I fail my stupidity trying to command the Tomb Kings? Do you want to go over the Trolls deployment?
Yeah, so we've got the General, which is the Troll Hag, just a level 1, and she's got big smarts. None of my characters have any magical items because I didn't have any points for them. We've got the Ogdrug's Swamp Digger. I'm just proxying the model today. I just want to try out this list to see if it's what I want to collect next. He's got big smarts, ravenous recourse, and rapid regeneration. We've then got a Goblin Shaman, level 3 with a Ragnarok, because it's the only way you can get it in the list. And I wanted to try out like a proper monster list. We've got 6 Stone Trolls, 4 River Trolls, and then we've got 10 Spider Riders with Spider Banner. They've got spears and a full command. And then we're finishing off with 2 Giants.
For the Tomb Kings, there's a Necrosphinx, 3 Chariots with full command, a big block of 34 Spearmen with full command, the Rampager's banner, Charm Shield on the champion, and in there's the Royal Herald BSB with a Charm Shield and Amulet of the Serpent, 20 Tomb Guard. Actually, they've got the Rampager's banner and full command. This unit have got Monster Hunter Tapestry. There's 6 Horse Archers at the back protecting the baggage train, and they've got a champion and a standard and light armor. Got the Tomb King on a dragon with Talisman of Protection, Paymaster's Coin, Biting Blade, and Armor of Meteoric Iron. And then there's 20 Archers with full command, and in there's the Hierophant, level 4 on Necromancy with Warding Splint. There's also 1 Tomb Scorpion, which will be in ambush. Today we're playing Chance Encounter, so we've got our special feature here, and then we're also playing with baggage trains. So this is the Tomb King's baggage train for this game. And then that big spear chucker is the baggage train for the trolls this game. End of Tomb King's turn 1. Everything has made a general advance. Slowed a bit because of the train and not being able to march. Tried to cast a Spiritual Vortex from the Hierophant, but it failed. And then here, the chariots fired their bows into the closest giant, but didn't hit anything. And then they've reserved moved a little bit forwards. End of the Trolls' turn 1 movement. Everything past Stupidity and Impetuous. Both the Troll Hag and Ogruts managed to cast big smarts. Tried to fated dispel the first big smarts but failed. And then Ogruts has also cast Ravenous Recourse, and there's Evil Sons on the spider as well. The tried to cast, when casting Ravenous Recourse, he miscast, so he couldn't cast anything else this turn. Most of the units have advanced a little bit, but the trolls, despite passing Stupidity, haven't really moved a lot. For the effects of the special feature, the Tomb Guard currently have magic resistance 3. End of the turn. Cast Vindictive Glare here, over here, but it failed to wound. But then the poisoned bows from the goblins on top managed to take a wound off the Necrosphinx. Tomb King's turn 2 movement. These units have moved up. The Tomb King has jumped over this unit and is now facing this way. Cast Curse of Years onto this giant with Irresistible Force. Round here, these chariots tried to declare a charge against the Troll Hag, but rolled really poorly, so they didn't go very far, and they ended up kind of blocking this unit that have just sidestepped. Here, the Necrosphinx has moved up to put pressure onto the Ragnarok, and the Tomb Scorpion is still in reserve. End of the Tomb King's turn. Tried to cast a Spiritual Vortex but failed. Then the archers from this unit that could see shot into this giant and managed to put 1 wound on it. Troll Horde turn 2 movement. Everything past stupidity. The Troll Hag needed a reroll from Big Smarts but passed. And then the Big Smarts that was on her got dispelled. Orcs cast Ravenous Recourse and tried to cast Rapid Regeneration, but that failed. And then tried to cast Itchy Nuisance over here, but that failed as well. Over here, the Giant and the Spider Riders have charged into the Tomb Guard. And then the Troll Hag tried to charge into the Spearman down here, but rolled just too short to get there. Shooting, cast Vindictive Glare down here, but managed to stop it with a Fated Dispel. And then the bows failed to do any lasting wounds, and the lobber misfired, so the spider's taken a wound from itself. End of Troll Horde turn 2. In this combat, 9 Tomb Guard were killed and then another 2 crumbled. They killed 3 spiders in return. Most of the damage was done because the giant belly flopped on the unit. Tomb King's turn 3 movement. The Tomb Scorpion is still in reserve. Managed to dispel one of the Big Smarts, but no other magic was cast because of arcs and range. Here, the Hierophant managed to bring back 6 of the Tomb Guard, and the chariots have gone into the Troll Hag, and the Tomb King has gone into this unit of Stone Trolls. Over here, the Necrosphinx has charged into the spider, the Ragnarok spider. This unit have just moved back a little bit. Shooting, used the Power Scroll and ended up casting Spiritual Vortex with Irresistible Force, and it's been put down here. End of the combat. Here, 3 of the spiders died and 3 of the Tomb Guard died, and they actually drew combat, so they're still locked here. Here, the Troll Hag challenged. Before that, the impact hits did no wounds, and then the Troll Hag killed the champion, and this unit have moved back a bit. Thanks to the BSB there, they didn't crumble. Over here, at first the Tomb King failed to hit with anything, but then used its Paymaster's coin. But then the trolls got some quite good regens, In return, the trolls, they had 12 attacks back, but missed with 11 of them. So they failed to do anything. At the end, Stomps managed to kill one troll, and the Tomb King lost one wound because he got vomited on. Over here, both of them failed to do anything useful with their attacks. I think the spider lost one wound to normal attacks, but then the spider did 3 wounds with its stomps, and only because of being indomitable too is the Necrosphinx still alive with 1 wound. The trolls fell back in good order, and the Tomb King has gone into them. The Necrosphinx gained ground, and the spider managed to pass its restraint. Troll Horde turn 3 movement. This unit of trolls failed their stupidity, and Ogretts tried to cast big smarts, as did the Troll Hag. The Troll Hag failed and then managed to dispel the other one, so they're stupid at the moment. He did manage to cast rapid regeneration onto the Arachnarch spider, and that also has Evil Sons on it. Tried to fated dispel Evil Sons but failed. Here the giant made it into the chariots. Shooting, failed to cast Vindictive Glare, but then the poisoned arrows from the goblins managed to take the last wound off the Necrosphinx. End of Troll Horde turn 3. Here, there's only 5 Tomb Guard left, but there's only 1 spider left. Again, thanks to the BSB, they only crumbled 1, so this unit is still here. Here, the chariots did nothing and got stomped on basically by the Troll Hag and the giant, and the Troll Hag has overrun into the Skeleton Spearmen. Over here, the Tomb King and the Dragon managed to kill 1 more troll. They did fairly well for their regen, and Stomps didn't do much. In return, they did 1 wound to the Tomb King. Then they gave ground but couldn't move very far because of the other trolls behind them. Tomb King's turn 4 movement managed to bring back 6 of the Tomb Guard again, and then the Scorpion has turned up and moved over here. Didn't have any good targets for spells, unfortunately, so still hasn't really utilised much of his spells this game. End of Tomb King's turn 4. In this combat, the Tomb Guard failed to kill the 1 remaining spider, which was also a standard, and because of that and combat res, they ended up crumbling. The giant did quite a few wounds to them. Here, the Troll Hag was in a challenge with the champion, killed the champion quite easily with all the static res. It still lost combat, but only gave ground because it's unbreakable. Over here, in the combat between the Tomb King and the trolls, not a lot of wounds actually occurred, but with combat res, with all the wounds that got saved from regen, the Tomb King won, and the remaining trolls broke and fled off the board, and the Tomb King has overrun and hit the side of this troll unit. Troll Horde turn 4 movement. The spider has moved over here. It's had Evil Suns cast on itself, rapid regeneration. Here, the giant has charged into the front of the spears. The one remaining spider passed its impetuous and has moved to hide behind this house here. And then here, the giant has turned round closer towards the archers. Shooting, Vindictive Glare from here took 2 wounds off the scorpion, and then the bows managed to take the last wound off it. End of the turn here, the Troll Hag challenged the BSB, but they failed to do any wounds to each other. And then the giant also failed to do any wounds and took 4 wounds in return thanks to the poison from the BSB's amulet. Also, one of the reasons they didn't do any wounds was because of the Monster Hunter's tapestry, meaning they couldn't do any stomps. Over here, the Tomb King killed one of the trolls and took no wounds in return, and then they fell back in good order, and he's followed up into the remaining. Tomb King's turn 5 movement. The horse archers have moved round here to try and get some shots on the one remaining spider rider. And then over here, the Hierophant managed to cast Curse of Years onto the giant, and then they've moved round here slightly to shoot at it. Shooting, the archers fired into the giant, 3 hit but didn't do any wounds. And then over here, the ones that could see fired into the spider. Only the champion hit, but it passed its save. End of Tomb King's turn 5. Over here, the trolls regenerated everything that went at them and didn't do any wounds in return. They passed their leadership. Would have given ground but couldn't move anywhere, so they're locked in combat there. Over here, again, the Troll Hag and the Herald didn't do any wounds to each other in the challenge. And then here, one skeleton was killed, but the skeletons, thanks to poison, killed the giant. Troll Horde turn 5 movement. The spider now has Evil Suns and Rapid Regeneration on it. Failed to dispel Rapid Regeneration. Over here, this giant, even with a -1 movement and you need to go around the terrain, managed to get into this unit. And then over here, the one remaining spider is trying to hide. Shooting, the bows on top of the spider shot into this unit and killed 2. The Spider Silk Lobber also tried to shoot at them, but scattered off 8 inches. Also tried to cast Vindictive Glare on them, but it failed to cast. Combat. The Prince on Dragon killed 2 of the trolls and didn't take any wounds in return. The last remaining one ran away, but didn't go very far, and the king has restrained and faced this way. Over here, the Herald took 2 wounds in the challenge and didn't do anything, but then they won combat and they've restrained and reformed facing this way. In this combat over here, the skeletons didn't do any wounds to the giant, and the giant killed 4 of them. It belly flopped on them. Tomb King's turn 6. The Hierophant managed to return all the skeletons to this unit. Over here, the remaining horse archers are chasing down the last spider rider. Over here, the skeleton spearmen have charged into the side of the Ragnarok, but they took 2 wounds to stand and shoot. And then here, the king has gone into the back of the troll hag. Shooting, the champion managed to hit the one remaining spider, but then again it passed its save, so it's still alive. End of the combat. Here did 1 wound to the giant, but this unit took 4 wounds. The giant lost only on the musician, and they followed up into the giant. Over here, the dragon managed to do 3 wounds to the troll hag, but then the troll hag did 3 wounds and managed to stomp another one off the dragon. It was drawn, but only because of the rear charge. Over here, this unit did 2 wounds to the spider and took 6 wounds in return, in addition to the 2 wounds that were done on stand and shoot. Evil Sun's proving very useful again in this combat. The unit won, but only because of the flank charge and the musician. So the spider is running away and this unit has tried to chase it. Okay, end of the game. Over here, the one remaining spider failed its impetuous and had to charge the horse archers. Killed one of them in combat, but then one of the horses finally managed to kill it. Over here, the giant very nearly killed the Hierophant, managed to do 2 wounds to it and kill some more with the stomp. They put 1 wound onto the giant, but they're still locked in combat here. Over here, remaining troll here failed to rally but stayed on the board, as did the Ragnarok spider, so that's still on the board there. And here, in the combat between the king and the troll hag, the king managed to kill the troll hag, but then the troll hag fell over and did 1 wound to the king.
So the game has ended in a win for the Tomb Kings, 1460 to 932. Things turned in favour of the Tomb Kings right at the end there, with the Arachnarok fleeing and finishing off the Troll Hag. The Hierophant and King both surviving saved a lot of points as well. Looking back at the game, I think I set up quite badly here with the terrain the way it was. The infantry and chariots just got in each other's way, trying to fit through. The leash priest was also kind of wasted. Forgetting they couldn't march when setting up left it really out of position, I think. All its spells are good against trolls and less against giants, and some were never even attempted. The troll horde made better use of the limited gaps in terrain with the hag and giants, I think. It was only because of the king's mobility being able to get around into the trolls and then the spearman flanking the spider that saved them. Let me know what you think, and thanks to Michael for the game, and thanks everyone for watching.